Welcome to another John's Journey video log or vlog on unveiling Jesus Christ. Today we're leaving the modern city of Izmir, Turkey and headed north en route to Bergama, Turkey, still in the Izmir province. Here we will find the ancient city of Pergamos, which is the Greek pronunciation, and Pergamum according to the Turkish pronunciation. The trip is going to take us about an hour, but we'll get off the highway because, well, that's very boring. As we do so, we'll be able to see some of the sights along the Aegean Sea and the coastline as we kind of coast along. We'll also be able to see some of the smaller towns and villages on this road less traveled. In Minimum, for example, they fancy themselves as winemakers and they have this nice monument in the center of town with this roundabout to make their point. They're also pretty famous for their pottery, and so there were lots of roadside shops like this one along the way showing off their wares. The industry in this area is not just limited to agricultural and trades that go back thousands of years. Check out these propeller blades for wind turbines manufactured in this same area. You'll see them up in the hill and you don't realize just how big the blades are until you get up close and personal. Here's another pretty cool monument over the road we were traveling on. It looks kind of like it's from the Roman era, but somehow I think this structure is of more recent origin. We're now looking at some photos of a very large metal fabrication plant just north of Minimum. This place is huge. It's one of several locations for this very large, probably multinational business in multiple cities. Here's some of the items that they fabricated. These look like they're probably sections of some type of water pipe. You can get a sense of the size of these things by looking at the car in the foreground. Now, yeah, I realize this is one of those small midget European cars that you see a lot of in this area, but still, you could fit several of these small cars inside one section of pipe from this fabrication plant. So this is another part of the same fabrication plant. This looks like it might be the front entrance, and you can see all these metal containers stacked up for shipping their products. This business is located right on the Aegean Sea and they have their own seaport. You can also see some wind turbines where they generate electricity for this plant. Since they can't rely on wind for all their power, you can see some of the smokestacks that look like they're part of a gas-fired power plant. Just up the road you have the third largest oil refinery plant in Turkey, located right on the Aegean Sea. This refinery is massive and goes on for several miles. It's surprising that it is so picturesque. I'm sure Greenpeace probably wouldn't agree with my opinion on that, but as we continue along, you can also see these large oil tankers that will take the refined gas to various parts of Europe, Africa, and ports across the Mediterranean Sea. Turkey doesn't have a large amount of domestic oil production, but they do a lot of refining oil for domestic and international use. Here we see the Aegean coastline that I promised you when we began this journey. We haven't been on the road that long, but we stop at a local gas station. I enjoyed seeing this farmer pull up his tractor to the pump. The sights at the gas station were all very pretty, as you can see from the flowers next to the gas station and also my traveling companion sitting next to me. So here's a local guy trucking down the road wondering what he did with that cigarette that he was going to light up. We finally arrive at the city of Bergama with a population of about 100,000 people. We're still in the Izmir province, about 70 miles north of Izmir, which is the location of ancient Smyrna. We're also about 27 miles inland from the coast at this point. Bergama is currently known for cotton, gold, and fine carpets, and Jan took a particular interest in those and took some of these photographs. But the big industry is tourism, as people come to see the ancient ruins, including the Red Basilica, the Pergamum Acropolis, and the Temple of Asclepius. I'll talk about all of these in two separate video logs in the near future. To get up to the Acropolis, we'll travel via a gondola built for tourists like us. Here we are boarding the gondola, and I'm taking my life in my hands recording Jan. You may hear some swearing in this clip.
I swear,
This is how I look after I've been threatened within an inch of my life. by she who must not be named. After that threat, if anything mysterious happens to me, you already know who your prime suspect is. Here's another dangerous effort on my part to get a picture of Jan by lifting up her hat. It's a very rare look at the elusive John Cassinat. Good news, I made it to the top of the Acropolis in one piece, and I'm now taking pictures that I'll be showing you in a separate video log. I was also still alive to travel with the group to the Temple of Asclepius that we'll also see in another video log coming up. I don't know about you, but all these near-death experiences have made me really hungry, so it's off to the Bergama restaurant for a little authentic Turkish food. The food is really pretty good here, but I have to say that the thing that I most enjoy are the oranges. After lunch, we stopped off to do some shopping at a collection of shops in the town center. You might say they welcomed us with open arms. Somehow, I think all the tourists get the same friendly welcome. We spent the night in Bergama at a little boutique hotel called the Hera. In case you lost track, Hera was the wife of the Greek god by the name of Zeus. The hotel was a little bit off the beaten path, to say the least. The car couldn't even get next to the entrance, and we had to take our luggage down this cobblestone street for about 100 yards. It was run by a very nice lady and her son who renovated this old building. Here you see some of the pictures of what it looked like before the renovation. Here's a before and after shot of a staircase in the hotel. You can see some artifacts that were discovered during the work. The Bigfoot, coincidentally, is not an artifact. I think it's a cast of Bigfoot from the American Northwest. I'm not sure how a Sasquatch footprint landed here in Turkey, but I guess it's just anything to attract the tourists. So I asked the hotel owner if it was difficult to get permits because the whole town is basically an ancient archaeological site. I was told that they have inspectors that come by when you're doing construction and digging and excavation, and if they find any artifacts, essentially they have to stay on the property, but they don't have to turn them in. I mean, the museums are just full of artifacts, so they got all they want, but they did discover some artifacts during the excavations, including an old winery. Here you see the small wine press for making wine. Kind of reminds me of the good old days when I made moonshine. That's kind of an inside joke for those who listen to my podcast regularly, but is it just me or does Jan seem very excited to check out the wine cellar? Here's the son of the hotel owner taking us on the grand tour, and Jan's asking him about wine tasting. Not for herself, of course, but just in case other wine bibbers happen to ask about it. He told us the wine cellar was 2,000 years old, and we were dutifully impressed until our tour guide told us that if we believed that, then he had some river bottom land he'd like to sell us. So that became a bit of a running joke with us. It's safe to say that some of the stones were probably 2,000-year-old, but the construction was of a more modern vintage. The wine cellar also had some pretty cool photographs on the wall, including this snow-covered scene of the Temple of Trajan on the Acropolis. There was also this nighttime photo of the Red Basilica located here in Bergama. I'll take you on a quick walking tour of the hotel. We're up here on the second floor. This is the dining area. As you look to the south, you'll see the city of Bergama with all of the red-colored rooftops and the white stucco on the outside of the buildings. As you turn around in this little dining area, you'll begin to look back toward the north side, where we'll eventually see the Acropolis as one of the scenes right next to that second floor balcony, which was pretty nice. As we were sitting out on the second floor patio, or the veranda, we had the pleasure of seeing a pigeon roundup. You see this guy over on the rooftop in a nearby structure trying to herd his pigeons into their coop to lock them up for the night. There are a lot of stray dogs and cats in Turkey, as we saw, and so getting the pigeons in at night, I'm sure, was for their safety. You've heard the expression about herding cats across a busy freeway. That came to mind as we were watching him and his uncooperative brood. It also kind of reminded me of the verse in Matthew 23:37 where Jesus was on the Mount of Olives looking over the city of Jerusalem and saying, quote, "O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets and stonest them which are sent unto thee, how often would I have gathered thy children together, even as a hen gathereth her chickens under her wings, and ye would not." Close quote. The guy never did get all his pigeons gathered in before I gave up my efforts to film his pigeon roundup. I decided I'd go ahead and set my camera up to take a time-lapse video of the sun setting in the western sky over Bergama. It turned out pretty good, but I do have to warn you that Jan, who all of a sudden became obsessed with having her picture taken, tried to photobomb my time-lapse, and if you watch closely you'll see her. I don't know what came over her. Usually I can't get her to even look at a camera. I guess it'll just be one of those great mysteries that we'll figure out in a later video log. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed the time-lapse, and I will see you in the next video log.